Welcome to the NCGA Valent Ag Weather Outlook, April 15th, 2017. Well, right now, generally, soil moisture is in pretty good shape over most areas. We've had some extra rain and a couple soggy areas, and we still have some areas that are trending dry. So you know how it goes. It's never perfect as far as soil moisture, or rarely. But overall, we're in pretty good shape. Just 2% of corn production is in drought, and some recent rain over Missouri and surrounding states has brought that down from 12% not all that long ago. And temperatures have been averaging above normal, so that's really sped up the green up, and it has sped up the temperatures of both air temperature and soil temperature. Now, over the last 7 days, here's the precipitation. Primarily over Kansas, Iowa, parts of South Dakota, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and other Great Lakes states. You can see that we're starting to get these streaks here. See these streaks here? When we start getting this streakiness, those are thunderstorms paths. So if you happen to be right there, you might have gotten a half inch of rain or so. But on the other hand, right next to it, nothing. So that's the thing with summertime and spring and summer thunderstorms. They're out there, they can produce very heavy rain, but if you look at the aerial coverage, it's not nearly as much as what we see up here. This is maybe more typical of early spring. There are some thunderstorm elements in here, but look at much more widespread. So that's when you see that transition from winter into spring and then finally into summer. Summer will even be more scattered than we see right now. Springtime, there's enough upper winds that they push things along. We usually have these southwest to northeast tracks. So precipitation over the last 7 days, and there's a lag in this, so it doesn't show everything, but you can see areas that have been wet and areas that have been dry. And I think the story that I wanted to mention here or point out is really the area that has seen fewer rain days is the upper Midwest, but a good part of the central and eastern Corn Belt have had ample rain days. We've had quite a few rain days. In some cases, 1 out of 2 rain days, we've had some measurable amount of rainfall. Now, temperatures over the last week were above normal, quite a bit above normal in many spots. Red is indicating 6 degrees above normal, if not more. So when we look at the leaf index, we see that it is now pushing up to the north. We're about 10 days or so above normal as far as the leaf blossom in those areas. So not only are we on track, but we're running early in many areas. That's the above normal temperatures that we have that's causing that. So we do have soil moisture fairly adequate, like I mentioned. I wanted to show you here. This is one that I sort of put in here. It's still showing we could use a little bit of precipitation in here, but this was shades of red not too long ago. So we have improved in that area. And you can see here, these are the changes over the recent past. Blue is saying that it got a little bit wetter. This is the area that has been getting drier up in this region. Now, as far as temperatures go, this was last week. I mentioned that these above normal temperatures were going to push that 60-degree line up. That 60-degree line is sort of this medium shade of brown there, and look how it's come up in the last week. So it's come all the way up now into this region here, and over the next 5 days, temperatures are going to be above normal, so it's going to push it up again, bump it up fairly significantly. Then I think the second week it's going to slow down a bit. Climatologically, it's still going to move to the north, but it's going to slow down. Last week and this next, most of this week, is going to be faster than normal as far as warming up soils. So this week, we still have some remnants of a southwest flow. Do you see where the jet stream digs down into the Pacific, and then it comes up into the U.S. from a southwest to northeast track? Not a lot of real strong energy in there, but there is repeated little pulses of energy. And we have that southwest flow. It does have the possibility of some heavy rain in spots. Next 5 days, unusually mild over many areas, and that's why I say I think soil moistures or soil temperatures are going to be rising significantly, or at least faster than normal, over the next 5 days. So we do have a fairly wet week. Many areas will be getting precipitation. Some areas will be getting fairly heavy precipitation, especially Oklahoma and Missouri. Also a second band further to the north. This is some needed rain, but the areas that need it the very most really look like they're going to be out of that. Some other areas, I wouldn't get too carried away on this rainfall forecast out through 7 days, but it could be, I think the message is some areas could be getting 1 to 3 inches of rain, other ones might only be getting a half inch. But right now it looks like a majority of the U.S. Corn Belt will be getting some modest rain and heavy rain in spots over the next week. Reason why is we're going to have a stalled front pushing through, and it's going to stall down in this region here, and that's where the heavier rain will occur, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. Because of that, soil moisture, if you look at the shades of blue, that's saying that soils are going to be wetter, getting wetter, and brown, drier. So what we see here is we see more areas getting wet than dry over the next 7 days. Now, it doesn't look like a real big severe weather week, but it does look like a chance of severe weather. This is on the day of this briefing on Saturday, not as much on Sunday, so it doesn't look like a real big outbreak, but I do think there will be some severe storms here and there early in this forecast period. So we begin to see some changes as we get into the 6 to 10 day. Look, we lose that southwest flow. We get a little bit of a dip in the jet stream over the middle part of the nation. We don't have as much of a bulging to the north of the jet stream. So that's going to cool things down after day 5. We're going to start to cool down. So once that front goes through, that's going to produce the rain. It looks like a cool down. And then as we get into the 11 to 15 day range, this is a pretty normal jet stream. West to east, usually that's not a whole lot of energy, and looks like temperatures fairly close to normal. And you can see that here over the western U.S., maybe a bit above normal, a little bit bump in the jet stream, but elsewhere close to normal. There's a little bit of light blue that's a little bit below normal, but I'd say overall close to normal. So in summary, as far as temperatures, first 5 days well above normal. Then once that front clears the area, it looks like we will be going back towards normal as we get into the latter part of the month of April. Now, precipitation, week 1 is going to be more active than week 2. Lots of green for week 1 over the Midwest, and then as we get into week 2, actually a dry signal. I see some yellow there, so it looks pretty quiet after we get past this first week. Now, I want to mention there's some hazards here. Within the green are the heavy rain hazards. We also have some flooding going on, and that's that area in purple. So a lot of the smaller tributaries in particular are going to be running quite high and in flood stage. So keep that in mind. So I think I've covered everything pretty well here this week. Rain most areas, some get heavy rain, some not as much. Above normal temperatures this week, then trending back to normal next. And definitely it looks like less rain week 2 than week 1. Want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Enjoy it with your family. And as always, if you ever have any emails, you can always reach me. I'd be glad to answer any specific questions that you might have. Take care.